Hi, welcome to the Spiritual Connection Show. I'm your host, Katie Augustyn. So, I'm a transformation coach, I'm a shamanic practitioner, I'm an energy healer, and I'm the spiritual head of the Transformation Center CT, which is based in Westport, Connecticut. So, right now, most of our programs are online because of the pandemic we're going through. And we have satsang live on Zoom on every other Wednesday night. So look for that on our website. I'm just going to put up the contact info for that so you can check it out. And you can contact us through the website. And it has all of the information there on the programs that we offer. Okay. Yeah, there it is, Transformation Center CT. Okay, so, all right, and welcome to the show tonight. As you know, each week we have a guest and they get to tell us everything that they're up to, about their spiritual journey and what they have to offer. So I'm really pleased tonight to welcome Jen Faye Colombo. Welcome to the show, Jen.
Oh, thank you for having me. I'm very happy to be here.
Yeah, so I'm going to just read a little bit about you for our audience. They may not know you, although I did interview you once before, about a year ago, I think?
Yeah.
But a lot has happened since then that we're going to find all about. So Jen is an artist and a creative guide who I've gotten to know really over the past year and a half, I think, right? And she's also one of the most creative people I've ever met. And I don't say that lightly. I mean, it's amazing. Jen also has training in Reiki, but she chooses to use her energy healing modality through her art instead of working one-on-one with clients. Yeah, and it works out really well, I can tell you that. And what it is, she uses meditation, intention, and her energy healing, and it's incorporated into everything she does, all of her art, and everything she does with her clients. Also, co-creation and collaboration with others is one of her favorite ways to work. And we're going to hear about that because speaking of that, she is a recent co-creator of a brand new affirmation card deck that's just beautiful. And so we're going to hear more about that. But before we do, I'm going to share the screen with your info, Jen, and it shows a little example of your cards. Let's see if I can find this. Okay, there we go. Yeah, so this just gives you a little glimpse as to her artwork, and this is her contact info, so you can email her at that address. Oh, that's her website, yeah. You can see the cards there. Yeah, beautiful. You know, so the first question I really like to ask my guests, as you know from before, is can you tell us a little bit about your spiritual journey thus far? Anything you'd like to share about that?
Sure. So first, I love that you refer to it as a journey because it is something we are always continuing to go down. It's always evolving. And for me, it probably began probably 5 or 6 years ago when I was first introduced to meditation and energy work. And those experiences opened me up to wanting to learn more. And I have done many things over the years with various energy healers and spiritual teachers and shamanic practitioners. And I personally enjoy learning from a variety of people and their teachings. And then I take what resonates the most for me from those teachings and apply it to my life. But if I were to sum it up in general, which I'm continuing to encourage people to do, and I know you are too, if I were to sum it up in one word, I think it's love and spreading kindness. And I think that's more important now than ever with everything that's going on. So that's the wisdom that I personally seek out to continue evolving as a person and a spiritual being, and to grow into a more loving, compassionate, being able to spread kindness out to the world.
Oh, wow. That's really beautiful, Jen. I agree with you. Yeah, I think we're on the same page with that one, that really love is everything. And if we remember that, come from that place, makes a huge difference. Yeah. So you use that in your everyday life and everything you do, right?
I do. I mean, I'm not always, I'm not perfect. No one is, but that is the goal that I try to achieve. And really also now having much more awareness about what might be blocked in my life or when things come up for me. Really having an awareness about what that is, why is that, and how to actually shift it and begin to make those adjustments so I can start to move towards a better vibration.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And how does that play out in when you're working with a client or creating art with a client, or how does that work out?
Yeah, so it works differently depending on what I'm doing. So if I am functioning as a creative guide for people, a lot of times we tie in meditation. Sometimes I work with people where we will put down a limiting belief or an emotion that's not serving them, and we'll work to scribble that out because we don't want to hold those things, right? We want to let them go. And then we use art to transform it into the more positive, higher vibration. And, it doesn't happen like magic, but it's a beautiful tool and practice that you can use that when you're not feeling so great, you can start to shift your emotions into that better, calmer state of mind, even if it's just a tiny bit. Like every little shift to me matters. And even if you're feeling really good, like for example, if I go better, and even if I'm feeling amazing, or if I start a painting, even if I'm feeling amazing, as soon as I'm connected to nature, I'm connected to that painting practice, which I consider to be meditation. I do feel that shift, even if it's just a slight shift up to even just a little bit higher of a space.
Yeah. No, that's a good way of putting it, because wherever we are, it's possible to raise our vibration. Even if it's not very, very low, you can still experience it in a way that lifts you up and then allows you to do the same for others, really.
Yes. And when I'm creating actual artwork for people, whether it's for their homes or for a project like the cards, my intention is to just raise the energy and the vibration and to support that person's intention. And I have created work for people's music albums. I'm illustrating somebody's book right now. We created the cards. I've done pieces for people in memory of lost loved ones. So there's always a lot of intention and energy behind all of those, with the idea that it makes people feel more better and at peace when they see them.
Yeah, and more connected to that energy. It's still alive in many ways. So you're able to tune in to the energy of the person that you're creating for and use that, and it comes through in the art. Is that how it works?
Yes. And what I do is I usually ask the person to set an intention for what it is that I am creating. And it could be anything. It's whatever the person wants. And what I do is I set that intention before I start to create. And I continue to think of that intention or anything else that they wanted to tell me or wanted me to include as I'm working. So if it's joy, I'm focusing on joy or peace, and being aware of colors, shapes, my paintbrush strokes, and what evoke those emotions.
Wow, that's really interesting. How and it always comes out in a way that you kind of expected, or you just never know where it's going. How does that work?
I don't always know, especially if I'm doing an abstract piece for someone. If I'm painting from a photograph with intention, it's different than if people give me a little bit of free rein and I'm doing an abstract piece. I'll usually go in with a plan, but then essentially the painting tells me what to paint. Like I will allow it to naturally just evolve and unfold as I'm going through the process. And it's not always what I may have had in mind when I started. And that's part of the process too. I allow that to just be.
Yeah, yeah. I was wondering about that because if you're listening to your intuition and tuning into, someone else's intention and energy, and that's guiding you, so you really let it have free reign. I can imagine.
Yeah, exactly. I like to refer to it, especially as I'm doing watercolor. It's like doing a dance where we're partners, and sometimes I lead, sometimes the paint leads, and somewhere you fall, a nice harmony.
I love that image. That's great. Dancing with watercolor. I can see that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Are the paintings that I'm looking at behind you? You can't see them. Are those some of your paintings?
Yeah, those three are three pieces of mine, and they are from a collection that I call Serenity. And the entire intention of the collection is to really bring in serenity, inner peace, based off of inspirations from nature. And people see them differently. Like they have emotional reactions to them. They'll be similar, but like they'll vary. And, every time you look at something, you might have a different reaction depending on what's going on in your life. And a lot of times I don't, especially my abstract pieces, I don't like to title them because I don't want to influence the viewer to not feel what they just naturally want to feel and respond when they see my work.
That's interesting. I hadn't thought about that, that really does just allow someone else to see it however they do.
Yeah, like I think it's the piece behind me, again, all titled Serenity, but somebody really gravitated towards it and felt hope. Like that was their word. I feel hope when they see that, which I love. I enjoy seeing and hearing other people's responses to my work.
Yeah, because I guess everyone's different, so they're going to have different responses. But I had never thought about the fact that people would have a different response based on, what's happening with them right now.
Mm-hmm. I think so. I mean, that's my personal opinion. I feel like, I view artwork and I can view it one way, and then, well, this is a little interesting story. So I always liked the artist Mondrian. If you're not familiar with the name, you might know it. It's basically the lines with a lot of times red, blue, and yellow, geometric shapes, squares and rectangles. And I always loved it, was always drawn to it. But it wasn't until after I started meditating and I saw those paintings again, I had a very different reaction and response to them. I was like drawn to them even more. I felt their energy more. Whereas I appreciated them maybe 15 years prior, but I didn't understand why I was drawn into them.
Very, very interesting. So in a way, it allowed you to go deeper into what you were experiencing with the art instead of, say, just appreciating it for art. Now you can look at it with a different lens.
Yeah.
Well, I think you definitely hit on something there that I hadn't thought of. So I have to remember that next time I go to a museum, or now everything's virtual, so we get to see every museum in the world online.
It's true. And I do view some of my favorite artists from a different lens now, that including Van Gogh and Monet. I'm sure most people are familiar with those too. I feel like Monet painted energy. I don't know if he did or not. That's just how I feel now. And that's how I personally respond to the works differently than I did maybe years ago. Again, always loved them and always were drawn to them. Didn't have the same connection to them that I do now.
Hmm. Yeah. It's almost as though like you were drawn to something, but you didn't really know why. Now you know why.
Yeah, now I know why. It all makes sense.
Well, isn't it interesting? The more we learn about ourselves, the way everything shifts, how we look at things.
Yeah, it's so true. I mean, that's why, again, like you said at the beginning, it's a journey. And I'm sure a few years from now, I'll maybe react differently or have an even deeper response to works that have loved for a very long time. That's kind of amazing. That's pretty awesome. Always getting to look from a new lens, essentially.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because we're always evolving, like you said. So everything, every part of us. That's
Yeah.
cool. So speaking of evolving, since the last time you were on my show, you've done a lot of creating. You want to tell us a little bit about how that got started, what the inspiration, the impetus was?
Sure. So I had been wanting to create a card deck for a few years. I just threw it out there. I was like, yeah, it'd be really fun to create a card deck.
Mhm.
That was it. No other, I'm going to go do this. And a little over a year ago, a friend of mine who is the writer and co-creator of our card deck, she's the writer, I'm the artist, called me and she said, hey, I have this idea. I want to create a card deck that combines essential oils and the power of affirmation. And I said yes before she even finished telling me the idea. The part that we focused on more in our deck is the emotional aspects that essential oils can provide you. So that was also really intriguing to me because I more used them previously for their physical aspects, even though I knew a little bit about the emotional aspects. So it also sent me on a whole other journey of really getting to tap into something I was slightly familiar with, but never dove in deeply. And how we created the cards was Erica did all of the writing. And when I was starting to create the paintings, she was doing the writing at the same time. And she would give me basic research and notes that she was using in order to create the paintings. So the backgrounds to all of the paintings are to honor the energy and essence of those plants and those essential oils. So they tap into the different chakras, they tap into the elements that are associated with them. And then, of course, I also focused on, does this oil make me feel grounded, calm, joyful, all of the different emotions, and combined those things to create the artwork for the cards.
That's an amazing experience. I mean, it sounds like to me to be
And
able to do that, to have, I mean, to be like you're experiencing it as you're creating it.
yes, and it was really fascinating for me because there were oils I was not familiar with, so I didn't know. And even ones I was familiar with, I didn't necessarily know what the plant looked like or how it grew. So I got to research that, and that was pretty cool because I got to connect and learn um, to a part that I was disconnected from. I honestly had no idea how pepper grew. It was pretty cool. It's a pretty cool plant.
You want to
So
tell us about that?
it's like little peppercorns and they're all like bunched up together in like a column. And it was really fun to draw. And I had no idea before this that that's what it looked like. So now I know. And that was true of a bunch of the cards that I created. So I love that I got to learn something. And for both of us, both Erica and I, the actual creation of the cards in and of itself was also a journey of learning and looking at even the information that was in the cards And for example, sometimes when we were first getting our Kickstarter going, we were delayed a little bit. I can't remember why, but we were delayed. And I was like, all right, it's fine. And then all of a sudden it became very clear why we got delayed, because we came up with this, we changed some stuff and made the card deck even better. And that happened a couple of times along the way. So it was a great lesson in learning also like trust and surrender and letting go and just allowing things to unfold as they were supposed to unfold.
Yeah, that's amazing, isn't it, how that works out?
Mm-hmm.
We have a graphic I'll show of the cards.
Oh, yes.
Saw a little bit of it before, and let's see. So this is the one with your name, and then this is the one with the cards, so you can see them up close. Do you want to take us through these? Are these some of your favorites, or?
Yes, these are some of my favorites, although I'm not supposed to have favorites, but I do. Geranium, I receive love. I mean, what a beautiful card, especially for now. That's part of why I put it in here. Mm-hmm. Rosemary, I am conscious awareness. And, you know, I have personally been trying to be more aware for my own growth. So I thought that was a wonderful card. Eucalyptus, I am at ease. Who does not need more of that right now? Mm-hmm. Along with lavender, peace is my true nature. And Melissa, I am transformed, which how could we not come out of this transformed somehow? And I was transformed during the whole process of doing this collaboration. I learned a lot, lots and lots of lessons in there. And, you know, in and of itself, every time I sat down to do a painting, that is a form of meditation for me and always brings me back to a place of inner peace. So it's also a very healing process for me too, and a great way for me to do energy work, not just for everybody who's going to see the cards, but also for myself.
Yeah, so you got a lot out of that. So you had to do an individual painting for each card. How many cards are in the deck?
Yes. So there's 55 cards in the deck. The back makes 56. But I painted way more than that because that's part of the process. So if anybody has created something or a big project, or if you sat down to write a book, Erica didn't just write the guidebook and it was done, or the affirmations. There was a lot of talking and collaboration and editing that went on. And the same with the paintings. There were a few that didn't happen on the first try, and it's a beautiful lesson too of surrendering, but also knowing a couple of the pieces I got stuck on, because I was like, I don't know what to illustrate for this. How do I represent this? And if I got stuck, I would know when to go to my partner and be like, hey, I'm stuck. What do you got? I need some ideas. Like, let's brainstorm this out. Let's talk this out. And all of them are in watercolor. So sometimes, whoops, I slipped and added too much water or whatever, and bye painting. And I had to start again.
Wow. So what did you do with all the paintings? You still have the original?
I have some of the originals. We actually sold a bunch of the originals from our Kickstarter. The rest are available for purchase that haven't been sold through the Kickstarter. I kept some of the Oops paintings, although maybe at some point I'll release the Oops paintings, because sometimes people like that, including tea tree. I drew the wrong plant. I was so excited. I drew this beautiful painting, the background. I loved the background. I was so excited. I sent it to Erica and she was like, I think you drew the wrong version of tea tree. And I was like, no, but the painting is so awesome. And she's like, it's wrong. And I was like, oh, okay.
Darn.
So I'm keeping that one because I just love it anyway.
Yeah.
Drew the wrong species, but learning,
Well,
learning.
but it's special for you. That's a great story. I love that. So tell us then how it works. Like, what do people do with the deck, and how do they work with it?
Sure. So there's different ways to work with a deck. And of course, we give instructions in our booklet, although I'm sure many of my energy healer friends are going to use the deck intuitively in other ways, which we're very excited about and happy to have people do. If you are working with a specific oil for the week, let's say like lavender, you can just go right through the deck and pull the lavender card and use that affirmation along with the oil that you're choosing to use or work with or start to get to know. If you don't have essential oils, that's okay. You can still just use I don't own all of the oils that are in our card deck. So when that happens, I just use the affirmation and I look at the card and I think about its energy. And as long as the intention is there, it's all good. The other way that you can do it is you can ask a question and you can shuffle and pick cards randomly and see what happens. And usually 3 things happen. You go, oh my gosh, yes. Like you're just really into the card and like, oh, this affirmation resonates so much for me. You may be the total opposite and go, oh goodness, I'm so out of alignment here. That's great. It's just showing you what needs work, or maybe in between something you're working on. During this pandemic that we have going on, I've noticed a trend in the cards I've picked for Instagram posts as well as virtual pulls for people. And there seems to be a lot of I'm at ease, I am grounded, I am soothed, probably things that people need a reminder of right now. And people can journal with them. You can meditate with them. You can use just the affirmation on the card, or you can use our guidebook for a deeper dive into the emotional aspects of the card and a longer set of affirmations. And you can use them how you choose, follow your intuition. I have people that have been picking cards when they saw me with the promo deck before we were in shelter at home, and they would pick cards and make diffuser blends or roller ball. And I'm seeing people doing that online too in the virtual space when I post cards. So many different ways that people can use them. Okay,
that sounds great. Well, did you want to do a card like experience right now?
So I have the cards in front of me, and I'm just gonna ask you to stop, and that's how you're gonna pick your card for you and for our audience.
Okay.
So I'm gonna go, and just tell me whenever you want to stop.
Stop.
Oh, Sage, I honor my truth.
Well, there you go. I guess that's important to me, and it is actually. Oh, that's great. That's perfect, actually. Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Great. Well, yeah, it's been wonderful learning all about your new card deck. And I think people can just get this from your website, right? I'll put up your contact info again.
Yes, if they go to my art website, there is a section on there that I've devoted to the cards, and it will take you right to the link to learn more about them and to pre-order the deck, which they will be arriving some point this month. So we're grateful that they're still in production and it hasn't really been halted that much. It's been slightly slowed.
So you think sometime this month?
Sometime this month is what we're told. They'll be here and we'll start shipping them out.
Yeah, cool. Well, I look forward to that. And thanks again for being on the show. We'll do this, and so we can say goodbye to our audience. And I hope you enjoyed meeting Jen and seeing all about her new project. And I'll just put my little contact info back up on the screen real quick, and you can see that. So it's transformationcenterct.com, and you can contact us and find out what's going on at the Transformation Center. And thanks again for being here to our audience. Thanks to Jen for being here. This is our second Zoom Spiritual Connection show, and I think we'll keep it up as long as we have to. All right, take care, everybody.